Hey yo, hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another live stream by yours truly. Hey Master Meep, Tengoku, hey what's up my fellow member? Amir, hey what's up my dude? Your basement truly. Weird username, but okay, well I mean I'm not judging really. Happy, I can't really say happy Halloween because it's not Halloween yet, but hope you guys are having a great spooky October, Spooktober as some people would say. Today we're going to be playing, or I guess you guys will be watching The Way We All Go. This is a visual novel of apparently the main character or the heroine of this game is like Yandere, so let's see if this is a good Yandere game to play. I really like thriller stories, so hopefully this is like very thriller-ish and like I don't know. Have you got and have before we start, have any of you guys played this game before? If not, it's totally fine because I've never touched this game. Hopefully there isn't any like 18 plus stuff that happens in here, but I doubt it. It's probably more gory than anything, but I don't know. We will see, I suppose, and if it does get like too bad, then it's like I might have to censor some stuff after this gets uploaded, but we shall see. Thanks for coming by, and I guess we'll start. Let's start. Let me get my girl voice. I don't know if this is a girl or a guy talking right now, but I really think you should tell her, you know. I know, but are you scared? I should probably adjust the screen. I don't know if I can. Oh shit, I can. But I don't think it's gonna do anything. Nope, it doesn't really do anything to the live stream. My eyes flicker open. I wake up in the compartment of a train. My head is leaned back against my seat, a stream of drool dripping from the corner of my mouth. Ugh. Achan. Is that what my name is? Achan? It's what a weird name. What? Wincing, I wipe it away with the back of my hand, drooling at my age. This isn't very mature. I thought I'd stopped doing that when I was a kid. I need to get it together. Act more like an adult. That's what I keep telling myself, but it never seems to work out. That's partially why I decided to take this trip alone. This isn't some kind of crazy coming-of-age quest for maturity kind of adventure, though. I'm not going to go far off land and slay dragons or pull swords from stones or anything. I doubt I could do that even if I tried. I'm just going to visit my grandparents who live all the way out in the countryside. That's all. Hey, dude, that sounds a lot like Higurashi. I don't know, man. Doesn't this sound like Higurashi a little bit? Still, I think you'll be nice going back home. I've only been away for 2 years, but it almost feels like a whole lifetime. Can you guys like hear me? I might have to turn down the volume a little bit more. That way you guys could like hear my narration. I need to turn down my volume for a bit. There we go. That's a little bit better. I wonder if anything will be different. 2 years might seem like a short amount of time, minuscule when you're considering how old the Earth is, but a lot of things can change over a period of only a few days, let alone years. I hope Ammu's okay. It'll be strange seeing her face again. She sent me some photographs, but a photo isn't the same as seeing a person in real life. Aw man, another Yandere game. This game, keep this up and they'll manifest into your actual relationship. Ouch, gosh, Gil, but you have to be so savage all the time. Jeez, man. If it's like Higurashi, will there be a pissing? Dude, I hope not, because that stuff is like weird. I don't want to like show that stuff on live stream. And I wonder. I lean my head against the window, staring outside. The rough movement of the train jerks my head against the glass, bumping my forehead and knocking my teeth together so they chatter, but I disregard it. I can see fields dyed dark blue under the evening sky. I'm not in the city anymore. I'm far away from my new house, my new school, my new friends. Saki, Miho, and Yuna. You know, it's always bad when one of their names starts with a U for a lot of reasons. What are you going to do right now? Saki with her love of horror stories. Miho, who always scores the highest in karaoke. Yuna, who wears red ribbons in her hair and keeps falling asleep in class. But these idle thoughts soon fade away. I'm going back home, and maybe I'll see her. She was always so quiet, never talking to anyone other than me. Will she be different now? I hope she's at least made a few new friends. If she hasn't, then... would it be my fault? No, that's no good. Why am I worrying already? I haven't even made it to the village yet. Stupid. I chastise myself, shaking my head in an attempt to dissuade my steadily mounting feelings of guilt. I don't want to ruin my trip before it even begins, but if I did, it wouldn't be too surprising. Maybe I deserve to feel bad. I should have told her. Why didn't I tell her? Because you were scared. I mutter this under my breath. It doesn't matter. Nobody can hear me. I'm the only person on the train after all. Interesting, okay. So I guess he didn't tell her, the childhood friend or person he left in the village, that he was leaving. So I guess now he regrets not telling her. Yeah, I feel like this is going to be an edgy story, maybe. I'm Savage Edge Man. It's my entire personality. If I lose it, then what will I have? Okay, good point. I won't take that away from you, Gil. Grandma. Darling, welcome back.
It's good to see you again, lad. You want a hand with your luggage?
I stand outside the small, dilapidated train station, gripping my single suitcase tight in my hand. Since I'm only going to be here for 3 days, I didn't bother to pack much. I can make do with the only few pairs of underwear and my pajamas. I don't need anything else. My grandparents are standing before me. They've come to greet me at the train station with wide smiles, comforting in their familiarity. Their home is only 5 minutes away from the station, so they didn't need to bring the car. This is probably a good thing. My mother keeps saying my grandfather's eyesight is getting worse and worse. Nowadays, he can hardly read the newspaper without the aid of his thick glasses, which he hardly ever wears, given he keeps losing them. And yet, he's still allowed to drive a car, something he frequently does, according to my mother, just so he can feel superior to other people. At least this is a fairly rural area, so there aren't that many cars around to hit. You don't need to carry anything, Grandpa. I'm good. I return my grandfather's smile and make a show of lifting my suitcase, trying to prove that I can handle it. He, however, seems skeptical.
Nonsense! You made all the effort to come out here and on that blasted train too. You must be exhausted.
I'm fine. I'm not a child anymore. Grandfather peers at me, frowning. Maybe he's trying to verify the validity of my statement. I wonder if he's forgotten how old I am. What's this? You still look like a youngster to me. Hey, I am 16.
And I'm older than 60. The gulf between us is as wide as a Kitakami River.
My grandmother giggles. Come now, dear, don't be silly. You're getting old and your eyes aren't what they used to be.
Nonsense. My eyes are just fine, Chio.
And yet you keep wearing that ugly shirt.
The shirt isn't ugly. It's very cutting edge, I'll have you know. All the youngsters are wearing them.
Oh, dear grandson isn't wearing one.
To his detriment. It enhances a man's natural charm and shows off his true character.
It shows he's starting to get senile, perhaps.
Chio, you can be very cruel, mistress.
Now, don't bully Achan too much, you old boar.
I'm just saying it like I see it, Chio. To me, he'll always be a brat.
On the contrary, I think he's grown up to be rather handsome. Handsome? I don't know about that. Well, you know what they say. Good things come in small packages. The way I see it, you're just being modest. I don't know if I'm being short is the same thing as being modest. My lack of height wasn't a conscious decision I made. If anything, I'd like to be a couple of inches taller. That way, I wouldn't get teased so much. Being the shortest boy in your class can be pretty depressing. Nobody likes being picked last when teams are being formed in PE, and nobody likes being laughed at. I'm not really modest, you know. I think you are. You're just proving my point, dear. Well, our Idy? Is it Idy? I think it's Idy. Our Idy has raised you well. You're such a little gentleman. Little being the operative word.
He must get it from your side of the family, Gio. You're always been tiny, haven't you?
Yes. I simply have a weak constitution.
You see? Even though he's 2 years older now, he's still a runt. I think you should let him carry your case. Lad, it's for your own good.
No, I'd feel bad. You don't need to put yourself out of me. Grandmother grins, beckoning me close. I follow her crooked finger and she leans in towards me, whispering in my ear. Don't mind him, dear. He just wants to show off. Let him carry your case. We'll give him something to boast about with the neighbors later. Oh, well, if that's how it is. No matter how old this man gets, he's just a child at heart. Grandmother and I laughed together, co-conspirators, before I turned my attention back to my grandfather. All right, I can reconsider. I guess I am a little tired from the journey, so you can carry my case if you want.
Excellent. I see you talk some sense into him, Gio. You used your feminine charms, did you?
Even at my age of 80, I still have it in me. It must be all the homegrown vegetables we eat. They're good for your skin, better than the vegetables at those so-called supermarkets.
You got that right. No tomato tastes as good as yours, Gio.
As my grandparents laugh together, sounding so carefree, I feel something lift from the pit of my stomach. Could it be anxiety? I started to get worried during my journey here, but maybe those fears were unfounded. Simply seeing my grandparents has made me feel more at ease. I guess I really do belong here. It's where I was born, after all. Hey, what's up, Yuri? Welcome back to the live stream, my boy. It's good to see you. You woke up early. Hey, my man. Yeah, boy. We're gonna party tonight. We're gonna drink some tea and read. That's my thing for. That's why I call a party, I guess. Hey, Susi Baka. Welcome. His voice is good. Thank you, Basement. I'll just call you Basement. Why his wife is mean, though, I don't know. Man, it's a good question.
How was the journey here, darling?
Oh, how was the journey here, darling? It was fine. It took a while, so it was a little tiring, but other than that, yes. It really is a long journey. It's 6 hours or so, isn't it? Something like that. I had to change a few times, though, and the wait around for a while. So maybe it was more like 7. 7 hours! My grandmother tuts disapprovingly. You poor dear. It must have been dreadful. You need to eat more. Here, take this. Thanks. I look at my loaded plate with suspicion. Even the grandmother said all that stuff about me being grown up and handsome. Did she really believe it? If she did, why did she make me so much food? It's almost like she's trying to feed up a starving kitten. There were many people on the train, though. For the last 2 stations, I was the only one. It wasn't too stressful.
Ah, well, this is a very small village. Not many people come up here, and more people have been leaving.
Huh? But why?
Because there aren't enough jobs to go around. Means there's no reason to stay. Now, most of what's left here is just us old people.
It's sad, really. I don't think I should ever like to leave. It's just so peaceful. And the green beans that grow in these parts are the best you can find. Oh,
I even hear they're going to discontinue the train line here. Guess it makes sense since it's hardly ever used and the current track is getting old.
Huh? That really is sad. I pick at my dinner disappointedly. Even though I don't live here anymore, hearing this village is starting to decline is just a little depressing. All of my childhood memories were created here, every single precious moment of my youth. Going out for walks in the forest, catching cicadas in the summer with a net and an empty mayonnaise jar, my extravagant and slightly unrealistic plans to build a treehouse with Ammu, which never managed to become a reality. And, of course, there was her, my best friend, Noelle. Ain't this a party? Yeah, no kidding. JJ, it's more easy. Okay, JJ. Sure, no problem. Oof. Okay, there you go. My bad. Saki. Hey, Achan? God, it's been so long. Saki's voice worry and WR. Somebody forgot the to spell the whole word correctly, but whatever. Worrying, quietly sarcastic as ever, comes through to me from the other end of the phone. The phone is in my grandmother's home is fairly old, one of the more antique than a fully functional means of communication, and it distorts her voice. Just the ripples across water can mar a reflection. Even so, I recognize it. How could I not? That kind of tone can only belong to the Saki I know and, sort of, with a certain amount of fear, love. I smile, shaking my head. She's acting like she hasn't seen me in years. It hasn't been that long. Only a couple of days. But it feels like an eternity. I've been so bored. I'm sitting on the floor, cross-legged, and the cord of the phone snaked about in my lap. My hair is damp from the bath, and my face feels slightly flushed. I think I used a little too much hot water. I've always loved hot baths ever since I was a kid, but sometimes I go overboard and emerge from a long soak so uneasy. Legs, my skin bright pink and puckered like a prune. I yawn, holding one hand against my mouth, and shift slightly, balancing the phone against my shoulder and the crook of my neck. How can you be bored? You have all those brothers and sisters to look after, don't you? Don't remind me. I only just got them all off to bed. It's so unfair. If my parents wanted to go off on a romantic holiday, they should have thought twice before having so many kids. Why should I have to stay behind and look after them just because I'm the oldest? But you wouldn't have wanted to go on a holiday with them either, would you? With my parents? Of course not. I'd rather die. Did you know they're going to Okinawa? Who wants to go to Okinawa? I went there on a school trip a few years ago, and it's a complete tourist trap. Tacky merchandise everywhere, and it's also bright and noisy. Not to mention the weather. Saki has a very pale complexion, which she guards jealously. She always slathers on sunscreen inches thick whenever so much as a single glint of sunshine can be seen peeking out from behind a cloud. Then, I don't know why you're so unhappy. If you didn't want to go with them in the first place, then there's no problem, right? It's the principle of the thing, that's all. I'm hurt. They didn't even invite me, because they knew you wouldn't want to go. But I still would have liked an invitation. It would at least have given the vague illusion that my company is in high demand this holiday. Wow, okay. The Saki person is kind of like, I don't know, it's like some people I know. What about Miho and Yuna? Yuna went to stay with her big sister for a few days, and Miho's out camping with her parents. Saki sighs. This is so pathetic. I'm the only one who doesn't have anything to do. Not a single thing. But taking care of your siblings is a noble job. Haha, yeah, noble. Saki laughs dryly, without any trace of humor. If you think watching reruns of Heidi, is that what it is? Heidi, for hours on end is noble, then sure. I kind of liked Heidi. I had the whole series on VHS. I used to rewatch it regularly, even up till my early teens when I was feeling bad. That is, until my mother rummaged through my bedroom and I wasn't home, and threw all my old VHS tapes out. I was pretty sore about that at the time, and I'm still am actually. Most of those shows don't get aired on TV anymore. I liked it too, but that was when I was about 5. But most of your siblings are 5. I know. It's so depressing I could scream. However, I will refrain, because that would wake those monsters up again. Oof, it sounds rough. You have no idea. You haven't known true torture until you had the task of putting 4 younger children to bed. Having met Saki's siblings several times during my trips to her home, I know better than to berate her. Although I genuinely like young children, Saki's siblings are something else altogether. They're more like gremlins than cute kids, and they're so loud, too. It's no wonder Saki always has such dark bags under her eyes. Living in a small home filled with tiny children, prone to waking up in the very early hours of the morning and sleeping into their big brother's bed, must be incredibly exhausting. It's getting so bad that I'm starting to think Okinawa would be better after all. Okinawa. What a joke. Why couldn't they go somewhere classy like France or Italy? And if it's about absolutely has to be Japan, then Ginza would definitely be the best choice. My parents have no sense of style, none whatsoever. A sigh. Anyway, I hope you're having a good time at least. I'm not entirely sure yet. I only just got here. Your train journey was that long? Yeah, 7 hours or so. I would hate it that so much. Being cramped up in a train with strangers coughing on me. It really wasn't that bad. It was pretty quiet, really. That's good, I suppose. More than can be said for my day. A pause. Hey, Achan. What is it? Oh, I hope you have a good time on your trip. Honestly. I'm not just saying it. Yeah, I know. I hope you get along with all your friends. Your old friends. And, I shuffle around trying to get comfortable. My bare feet toes twitching and starting to feel strange, slightly heavy. Have they gone numb from sitting cross-legged on the wooden floor for so long? If you ever feel overwhelmed, you can always call me. I probably won't be doing anything interesting. If anything, I'd appreciate having somebody to talk to other than the mothers at the local playground. Sure, I'll try to keep in contact if I have time. But I am going to be back in 3 days. Just try to hold out until then. I'll do my best. 3 days of endless Haiti reruns and pillow fights and take-out pizza. I'll have to grin and bear it, I suppose. Not that Saki grins very often. That would conflict with her pale-skinned, dark-eyed, eternal queen of the night appearance. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you bring back a souvenir. I need some kind of excitement lingering on the horizon to get me through this living nightmare. Otherwise, I might snap and stab myself in the eye with a wax crayon. Wow, is that foreshadowing? I can't tell. Me watching the stream while taking an exam. Yeah, boy, exam. Not really, that cries. That's talent. What can I say? Can't miss this man's stream. Thank you, Yuri, I really appreciate it. I lie in my futon, staring up at the living room ceiling. Since my grandparents' house is pretty small, there was nowhere to put me other than here. Still, I don't mind. It reminds me of the times when I was a child, and I used to stay here overnight when my parents were busy. I would lie on this futon in the same living room with the light turned on, reading comics and eating slices of stolen tangerine. My fingers would always get stained with yellow from the rind of the tangerine, and I never had the foresight to wash it off before I went to sleep. My grandmother would see my yellow fingers in the morning and see the missing tangerines, but she never scolded me. Instead, she asked, in overly theoretical tone of surprise, "Where have those tangerines all gone?" And I'd say, "I don't know, maybe it was a bear." They really were fun times. but I'm not 10 anymore. I'm getting older. I'm too big for this futon now. The tips of my toes are poking out from under the sheets. I close my eyes and curl up into a ball, listening to the sounds of the cicadas outside. The windows are all shut, but I can still hear them. This is something I forgot after living in the city for so long. The small details vanish from my mind, as though they were never there at all. No matter where you live, there's always background noise. In the city, it's cars and drunken arguments at 2 a.m. outside your apartment. In the countryside, it's cicadas. Cicadas and the wind. I snuggle under my blanket. For some reason, I feel cold and not just my toes. All of me, my whole body, I shiver. Maybe it wasn't the weather. Maybe it was my mind. I'm probably overthinking things. I always do. Thinking about tomorrow, thinking about her. I should have told her. Why didn't I tell her? That's the last thought I have before I fell into a deep and dreamless sleep. Sunlight streams through the window. I can feel it brushing against my face, trying to snake itself through my closed eyes. I curl up even tighter into a ball like a hibernating hedgehog. The new day crept upon me far too fast. I haven't had any time to prepare myself yet. I'm still tired and my feet are cold. That's what I get for sleeping on a futon slightly too small for me, I guess. I can't hear any cars. I can't hear any people. Everything is still quiet. Maybe too quiet. I start to fantasize, making up imaginary scenarios of natural disasters, nuclear wars, a zombie apocalypse, where have all the people gone. It takes me a few minutes to remember where I am. I'm not in a city anymore. I sigh, breathing in the cool country air. It's invigorating, waking me up more thoroughly than a bucket of cold water could. Now then, where should I go? Who should I see? Ammu told me in a letter I received a few days ago that she was going to spend most of the Golden Week working in her parents' cafe. Since it's only 11 a.m., it seems likely she'll be there. In that case, if I want to pay her a visit, I should dig my old bike out of my grandparents' back garden and take it for a ride. It takes about 40 minutes to reach the town where that cafe is by bike, probably slightly longer if I walk. I haven't been on the bike in a long time. Thinking about it makes me feel a bit nostalgic. The wind in my hair, the scent of flowers in the fields, the earth under my tires. It's an enticing idea. But on the other hand, there's always Noelle. I definitely owe her a visit, and yet it's been so long. I can't help but feel anxious. But I know one thing is certain. If I keep deliberating like this, I'll never get anything done. Go and visit Noelle. Dang, dude. Okay, that's a tough one. Let me save. I'm gonna save so I can come back later. Let's see. What should I do? I guess I'll go and visit Ammu at her parents' cafe. It doesn't take long for me to wake up my mind, although I feel a twinge of guilt at brushing Noelle aside like this. I think it might be for the best. I know in my heart I should at least try to visit her. I should try to repair our relationship. I owe her that much, and this might be the only chance I have. But I'm not going to be here for very long, and I don't know if I'll have enough time. It seems far more realistic to spend these few days with having fun with my best friend, rather than trying to rekindle a relationship that might never spark again. At least I know that Ammu will be happy to see me. And so, trying to justify this cowardly line of thought to myself, oof, that kind of hurts, because it's like calling me a coward for not choosing Noelle. Dang, dude. Okay. I go into my grandparents' back garden and dig up my old bike. I thought he already did that. But okay, whatever. It's taking longer to reach the next town than I thought it would. I'm slumped over the handlebars of my bike like a slab of freshly cut meat. My face is just as red. I pant heavily, trying to get my breath back. Sweat beads on my forehead, dripping down the contours of my face and off the tip of my nose. This gradual degradation must be what happens when you move to the city. Since everything was all so convenient, I stopped walking and cycling everywhere, and instead started to rely on the godsend that is the public transportation. I took the train to and from school. When I wanted to go shopping, I went on the bus. I hardly ever had to walk unless it was to the convenience store, and that was only 3 minutes away. My heart burns. My face is on fire. At least one good thing came out of all this. When I blush, my face gets all red. It helps to obscure my freckles. I've never liked them. I've wondered about waking up to conceal them before, but wearing makeup to conceal them before. But it might be kind of strange asking my female friends for advice about that. I don't know if they'd tease me, but, well, even if I wanted to reinvent myself, it's already too late. The people at my new school already know about my freckles, so what's the point? I wouldn't be able to fool them. I'm just the same as I used to be all those years ago, or am I? If that were really true, then why was cycling suddenly became such a chore? Could I have changed more than I thought? No, dude, it's your physical appearance, man. You're not physical appearance, but you have no muscles whatsoever, man. Noel. So this is Higurashi. Dude, I swear to God, it might as well be. I wouldn't be surprised. My legs hurt. After that strenuous cycle here, I don't even want to look at my bike, let alone ride it. Unfortunately, I can't just abandon it somewhere along the street. That would be irresponsible, and somebody might trip over it. Burdened by my own code of ethics, I end up towing the wretched thing along behind me, holding it by the handlebars. Maybe it wasn't my fault I got so tired. After all, this is an old bike. Perhaps one of the tires is flat or something, and the brakes aren't very good either. It's not my fault. It really truly isn't. Or at least, I don't want it to be. Jeez. Trying to distract myself from the concerns over my physical fitness or lack of it, I take a look around at my surroundings. Come to think of it, I really should be paying more attention, given I'm wheeling along this widely vehicle. I don't want to run over any small children. The streets are pretty crowded. Since it's a warm day, the whole street is flooded with life. Young men and women strolling around hand in hand, parents pushing baby strollers, old men and women shielding from the sun under the bus shelter, laughing over private jokes. There are young children clinging to their parents, wailing for ice cream, a group of teenage boys with their hands thrust deep into their pockets, sporting backwards baseball caps. You mean giggle of girl? I don't know. Gaggle, I guess. A gaggle of girls with fake tans and long fingernails laden down with shopping bags. Everywhere I look, I can see something happening, and almost everything seems to be smiling. Is that because of the warm weather? This town really does have everything. Large businesses, buildings with more than 3 floors, a library, a hospital, a police station, a church, several shops, an elementary school, middle school, and a high school, not combined into one classroom like the school in my old village. There are even ice cream vendors in the streets, a couple of fast food restaurants, and a movie theater. Truly, this place is a metropolis. At least that's what I thought when I was little. Literal than I am now, I mean. Now I know that isn't really true. This is the only small town with a population of about 30,000. It's not nearly as cosmopolitan as I thought. When you get older, your perspective really does change. The 5-story company buildings that were once so impressive are less grandiose now. The single library sadly understocked. The ice cream vendors nothing special. In bigger cities, you could also buy crepes, yakisoba, and takoyaki in the street. Now, where was the cafe again? If I remember correctly, it was just down the street and then to the left. Not too far away. This is the only small town, so of course it isn't too far away. Nothing is. However, I take a lock of my hair between my thumb and forefinger, squeezing it. It feels slippery to touch, like handling a fish fresh out of the water. Do I really want to meet Ammu looking like this? I've just crawled out of a vat of lard. I don't think that'll make for a particularly good first impression. It has been 2 years since I last saw her. Shouldn't I greet her looking my best? Find a public restroom, cool yourself, visit the cafe with the way you are. Nah, dude, we gotta look good for this person, so let's go to the public restroom and cool off. Oh shit, go back. Can I go back? Can I go back? No! I forgot to save. Dude, that sucks. Hey, what's up, Dorasier? I still don't know how to say your name. Welcome back. I bend over the sink, splashing cold water onto my face. I don't know if it's making a whole world of difference, but at least I feel somewhat refreshed. When I look at my reflection in the mirror over the sink, I'm relieved to note I look slightly less bedraggled than before. My hair is still damp, but it doesn't look as greasy, and my face isn't as red as it once was. I hope Ammu doesn't make fun of me now. Yeah, right. Since it's Ammu, she's going to make fun of me no matter what I look like. I'm not that naive, but still, she might tease me less than she potentially could, which is good enough for me. At least I've managed to minimize the potential damage. I mopped my forehead with a tissue, then crumpled it up and threw it in the nearby toilet. At the same time, I can't help but wonder, why am I getting so concerned about my appearance anyway? It doesn't make any sense. I've known Ammu ever since I was a kid. We used to make mud pies in the forest, go paddling in the river, climb trees together. We've both seen each other in so many embarrassing situations in the past I could hardly count them on my fingers. Why should I worry so much about how I look now? Am I growing up? Or could it possibly be something more than that? Huh, that's stupid. I shake my head, trying to dispel that ridiculous thought. Why should I care about what Ammu thinks about me? We've been friends forever. Not literally, but close enough. If I liked her in any way other than that, surely I would have realized it by now. I don't like her like that. Not at all. Not one bit. But now that I've denied it so much, doesn't that make it sound even more suspicious? Yeah, a little bit. And so I finally made it back here. Back to this familiar cafe. It's a warm, comfy place, made mostly of wood, a small establishment and not very large, with a certain kind of humble charm. And the waitress who comes to greet me. Oh, this is Ammu.
Hello, sir, and welcome to Amu Cafe. Will you be dining alone today? Is there anywhere in particular you would like to? Oh my god.
It's Ammu. Her pink hair is as messy as ever, tendrils falling out of her ponytail. One hand on her hip, she looks me up and down, her mouth parted slightly. No way. That's no fair. She's grown over the last couple of years too. I may have entered some wild fantasies of one day of overtaking her, being able to rest my elbows on top of her head just as she always did with me, but of course it didn't work out like that. The best laid plans never did. I didn't grow at all these last 2 years, but Ammu, she shot up just like a stick of bamboo. She's still taller than me. A lot taller than me, actually. How depressing. Ammu looks at me in surprise. It takes a few moments until finally she's able to greet me. And when she does, the words that come out of her mouth.
Cockroach kid, it's you.
Are not exactly flattering. I guess I'm the cockroach kid. Jeez. Ammu, that's mean.
I'm sorry. I just can't help it. You were always boasting in your letters about how you were getting even taller. You're going to catch up to me soon, blah, 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 blah. But when I actually meet you, you still look like your 12-year-old. You're still the same old cockroach kid I remember. Don't call me that! I'm trying to put the painful chapter of my life behind me. To you, it might be a tragic tale, but to everyone else, it's a comedy. Hey! Don't go deriving so much pleasure from my past failures like that. It's mean. I'm a mean person, Chen. I thought you knew this already.
Ammu's laugh is just how I remember. It's a devilish little giggle that sounds incredibly mocking. That laugh, coupled with her smug expression, makes me feel as though nothing changed between us. If she wanted to, she could still rest her elbows on top of my head and use me as a coaster. I sigh.
Still, I'm pretty grateful. If you hadn't swung by, I'd still be stuck working in that crappy cafe until 4. I owe you one, buddy.
Laughing, Ammu claps me on the shoulder. She uses too much force and hurts me more than she probably intended. I wince, rubbing my shoulder. I hope that doesn't leave a bruise. Even though you're working as a waitress now, you're just as violent as ever.
Me? Violence? No way.
You could have dislocated my shoulder.
Sorry. I guess I was just so happy to see you again. I got a little overexcited.
Ammu giggles, waving one hand as though it's no big deal. Because Ammu never takes anything seriously, being with her is always pretty relaxing. Which is kind of remarkable given how much she beats me around under the flimsy guise of friendship. Perhaps Ammu's easygoing nature comes from living in the countryside, free from strict rules and regulations, confusing train timetables, and angry people in business suits holding briefcases. Hey, Ammu, I was wondering.
What? You want to know my secret skincare routine that keeps my complexion looking so soft and supple?
Well, that does sound kind of interesting, but that wasn't it.
Oh? How disappointing.
I was actually wondering, how you feel working at your parents' cafe.
Oh, that?
Ammu's expression falls.
You know, that isn't nearly as much fun as discussing secret skin routines.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm just curious.
Well, I guess it feels good helping out my parents doing the right thing, etc., etc. But I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing.
Ammu sent me a few letters with words to that effect in them before. Because of her complaining, I started to think that maybe the cafe had introduced some really cute, really completely un-Ammu-like maid outfits to get attention. But that wasn't the case at all. When I saw Ammu at work, she looked exactly the same as usual, messy hair and all. She wasn't even wearing an apron. Even though Ammu doesn't wear typically feminine clothes, I've always thought that she was pretty. A maid outfit might actually suit her.
Hey, Achan.
Ammu glares at me, leaning in a little too close for comfort. I shudder, overwhelmed by her negative aura. Something about the look on her face is making my skin prickle. Haha, what is it, Ammu?
You weren't thinking about anything dirty, were you?
How did she know?
No, of course not.
She's getting even closer. What should I say? This could end up being my last words. Shit. Let's save. You could do the dual verse fighting game trailer. Wait, what? What are you guys talking about? You got it. You right, lmao. No worries. You could do the dual verse fighting dream trailer. Oof, that's a rough nickname, lmao. Dang. Yeah, no kidding. Let's see. I was just thinking you'd look cute in the maid. Be gone, vile demon. Get back. Should I compliment? I feel like if I say this, she's gonna be like, "Oh, hey, hoo, yeah, I like you now." Get closer to her. If I go with "Be gone, vile demon," that kind of like pushes her away. Usually that's how these dating visual novels go, so I feel like I should go with get closer to her so I can get like the bad ending in the game. Hey, Ammu, there's no need to be so serious. I was just thinking.
What were you thinking?
I was just thinking that you'd look quite cute as a maid. There's a long silence. I squeeze my eyes shut, half expecting Ammu to strike me, not knowing when she will. To an outside party, this precaution might seem ridiculous, as though I'm overreacting, but that outside party doesn't know Jogasaki? Is that her last name or something? Jogasaki Ammu like I do. They don't know how unnaturally strong she is. Ammu definitely isn't a person you want to go against. To never get on Ammu's bad side, it was something I continually wished for every single Taba. Well, what was that? Wait, go back. Ammu definitely wasn't a person you want to go against. To never go on Ammu's bad side was something I continually wished for every single Tanabata? Tanabata? What does that mean? That and getting taller. Well, since the latter of those wishes were never granted, I see no reason for why my former should have then too. Stupid lazy stars. I wait anxiously, wondering when the storm will hit, and yet several seconds of silence go by, but nothing happens. Anxiously, I crack open my left eyelid, then my right. Sitting beside me, I see Ammu. Just Ammu. Not the angry, vengeful demon I was expecting. There's a small smile on her face, and for some reason, she looks faintly pleased.
Huh? You think I'd look cute? Huh?
Yeah. That's what I said.
Well, thank you. I don't think you've ever called me that before.
You don't mind? Ammu shakes her head.
Being thought of as cute every once in a while might be kind of refreshing.
Really? The old Ammu I know would have punched me in the face for saying that.
Well, maybe I'm not the old Ammu anymore. Maybe I'm growing up.
You're growing up into more of a girl?
Nah, I'll always be a girl no matter what. But that doesn't mean I have to act a certain way. I can act how I want, right?
I guess. It's strange, though.
Strange?
What is? Hearing you say something so mature.
There isn't anything strange about that. I've always been mature.
So saying Ammu sticks her tongue out at me.
Besides, a maid outfit would be wasted on me. I'm too tall for it.
I think it'd look far better on you.
What? What? Yes. You're so cute. You definitely have the right build for it, Ah-chan. You're really short, have pale skin, you blush easily, and you have lots of freckles. And you really cute curly hair. You'd make the perfect maid.
I think I'll pass on that one if it's all the same to you.
No, really, it's an excellent idea. I should pass it on to my father at once.
Ammu stands up as though she's ready to get back to the cafe. I know in reality she's just teasing me. She'd never really do that. But I start to panic regardless. I reach forwards and grab her, hold onto her arm, desperate and pleading.
No! Don't go! Ammu, come back! I don't consent to it at all. But it'll be so good for our business. Think how many customers the cafe will get with you dressed up all cutely, Ah-chan. You can get them at the door and say, "Hello, master. What can I get you? A drink? A dessert? Or perhaps me?"
Bruh. Dude, okay, I forgot how you say that in Japanese, but it's a trope that's always a thing when it comes to like romance animes or something. My face turns even redder. My body is not a commodity. That's far too embarrassing. If I had to do something like that, I'd die.
Well, if it proves to be that stressful, maybe it isn't such a good idea after all. I think a dead maid would draw in a certain crowd, but not the kind of our cafe's after. We have a wholesome, family-friendly image we need to maintain, you know.
Smiling playfully, Ammu sits back down and besides me. I pout, staring down at my lap. My cheeks are burning. That's mean.
That's life.
That doesn't even mean anything.
C'est la vie?
It doesn't take on any more of a meaning if you say it in another language.
Guten Tag?
It doesn't even mean the same thing anymore.
It doesn't?
No.
Wow. I didn't even know you were so good with languages, Achan.
Pat, pat. I shake her hand off from my head. I'm not good with languages. Not particularly. This much is general knowledge.
General knowledge, huh? Nah, that sounds boring. I'll pass, please.
You can't pass. It's an important part of life.
Oh,
why are the important parts of life so boring?
But seriously speaking, I think it'd be nice to work there with you.
Huh? I frown, blinking at Ammu from underneath my bangs. Why do you say that? Do you really dislike working there so much?
I don't know if dislike is the right word to use. It's just, I'm one of the youngest people there. All the other waitresses are older than me and more experienced, so I always feel like I'm making mistakes. I never thought you were the kind of person...
I never thought you were the kind of person who worried all that much about about what people think, though.
I'm not. Not really. But it feels a little more awkward at work. And besides,
Ammu scrawls, resetting her head in her shoulders.
There's that stupid name the cafe has too.
Now this is something Ammu has definitely told me about before. It's a standard compliment from her. She really, really hates the name of her parents' cafe. Like, really. Personally, I think it's just a small thing, but Ammu seems really fixated on it.
Seriously, why did my parents have to name the cafe after me, anyway? I mean, Amu Cafe? Come on!
I don't really see the problem. I think it sounds nice.
Yeah, maybe it sounds nice to you, but to me, it's hideously embarrassing. Having the place you work at being named after you, you have no idea how many customers look at my name tag and then start to make jokes about it.
I don't know if that's something you could get so much comedy material out of. Ammu's face darkens.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Some people out there think they're so funny. Why couldn't my parents have just used our family name for our cafe instead, like all the normal people?
Jogasaki Cafe? I frown. I don't know, it doesn't have much of a punch to it. It's too long.
That's what my parents said too. So they decided to humiliate me. Ugh, it's so annoying.
Ammu's face clouds over. Maybe I should try to cheer her up. Now, what kind of thing would an Ammu like?
Yay! Ice cream!
Ammu claps her hands together delightedly, just like a little kid. Even though Ammu doesn't like sweets too much, she does like ice cream. I feel proud of myself for remembering this. Good job, me. You made the right choice.
Thank you, Achan. Thank you. You're going to pay for me, right?
Actually, on second thought, what are you talking about? You're the one with the job, aren't you?
That's irrelevant.
But you have more money than I do.
The amount of money doesn't matter. No guy would invite a girl out to ice cream then make her pay for her own share. That's so cheap.
Hey, I'm not taking you out on a date or anything. We're just friends.
Exactly. We're such good friends that you'll pay for my ice cream.
Well,
Go on, Achan, please. Please, 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 please. I'll be your best friend.
I thought you were already friends.
We are, but, you know, better friends.
What does that entail exactly?
Well, it means I won't make fun of your height for the rest of the trip here.
Ammu's definition of friendship really is something. Let's save this right here. Buy your ice cream or don't. Should I get close to her, or should I just like abandon her in total darkness to suffer despair? I don't know. Let's go buy her some ice cream. And so, as might be expected, I caved in.
Yay! This is really delicious. Thank you, Achan.
It's no problem.
And you even remembered my favorite flavor. I didn't even need to say.
Of course I remember. How could I forget? The reason I remembered Ammu's favorite flavor of ice cream isn't because we have such an incredibly deep bond of friendship it can never be severed, no matter what. It's nothing as sentimental as that. The real reason I remembered is because I always thought of her favorite flavor of ice cream was really weird. I mean, green tea? Really? That's the kind of ice cream you'd expect an elegant lady to favor, not Ish, so good. Not an Ammu. Hey, be careful. You're getting it everywhere.
But the thrash part of the fun.
And don't talk with your mouth full. That's disgusting.
It's just a sign I'm enjoying it more, Grandma. I'm not like you, who ate the whole cone in like 5 minutes.
That's because I was being sensible. I didn't want it to melt on me.
But that's so boring. Who wants to be sensible?
Don't answer back. Look, you're getting ice cream all over. Right, come here. I move in a little closer until our legs are brushing. Then I take a few paper tissues from my pocket. There's no harm in being prepared, and start to dab at her face. Ammu wiggles in discontent and pulls a face, but I am relentless. Scrub at her face until it's sparkling clean, no longer smeared with cold, gooey mess. It's always been this way between us. Ammu is the active one who gets into scrapes, while I hang behind to clear her up, taking care of her cuts and bruises. I think it's because of my close friendship with Ammu that I get into the habit of carrying tissues with me to begin with.
Killjoy.
Ammu pouts, taking another lick of her ice cream. I just want you to look presentable.
You're not my mom, and I'm not going to attend a marriage meeting. You don't need to be so fussy.
It's in my nature to fuss. If you don't want me to get concerned, you shouldn't act so childish.
Bleh.
Ammu sticks out her tongue. There's a glob of green ice cream sitting on it, dissolving slowly. Ugh, that's so gross. Ammu turns her head away and continues eating, taking a few more minutes to finish off her ice cream. This time, however, she's slightly more careful, and is able to finish the job without getting dirty again. I almost feel like I should applaud her for that. She probably made quite the effort there.
Still.
Ammu leans back against the bench, staring up at the blue sky. Life in the small town continues around us as usual, and yet, right now, for some reason, this moment feels strangely special. Intimate, maybe.
I forgot how much you used to worry about me. Getting so much attention feels kind of nice.
You just like being taken care of.
Maybe a little. It reminded me of when we were kids.
Ammu turns to look at me. There's a small smile on her face.
You haven't pampered me in so long. Not since she came. Isn't that right?
I pause, suddenly hesitant. I know what she's talking about. Of course I do, but I had assumed. Stupidly, I had assumed Ammu wouldn't talk to her. wouldn't talk about her. After all, she never mentioned her in her letters. I thought being with Ammu would be safe. I wouldn't have to think. And I wouldn't have to remember. I wouldn't have to feel guilty. Hey, Ammu?
What is it?
I pause. My hands clench into fists. I bite my lower lip. I don't really want to talk about that. Is that okay?
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. It's not something I really want to talk about either.
Yeah. Let's go do something fun.
Fun. Right. Fun. Hey, Achan. Are you hungry?
Maybe a little.
Then I know just what we're going to do. Follow me.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, green tea ice cream sounds pretty good too.
X2?
Yeah, there are a lot. Isn't this a popular chain?
I think so.
But still, somehow, I can't help but smile as I look down at the tabletop. The condiments have been arranged just so, and there are packets of salt and sugar in a small box, all as to be expected. It's kind of nice coming back here. It makes my memories feel more real somehow.
Are you being sentimental?
Maybe. It's kind of hard not to be.
Nah, you're just sappy.
Maybe that's true too. I think. I had a birthday party here once.
All the kids at our school have had birthday parties here at some point or another.
Apart from maybe Iriri. That's a weird name. Iriri. Eriri. Iriri. I don't know how you would say that. She was always too proper for places like this. I guess there aren't that many restaurants to choose from.
Yeah, someday I want to go to a really big fast food restaurant where the floor is all greasy and the people behind the counter are sweating and shouting at each other, and there are so many customers that you can't even find a seat.
The mere this thought is enough to make me shudder. I don't think I'd like that so much. Isn't this place enough?
It'll do, I suppose, but it's not the same. It's like there isn't as much energy like Badan, you know?
Not entirely.
Huh? Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but this place does have something special.
Special? What do you mean? Ammu grins mischievously, gesturing towards her meal. It's a simple cheeseburger with a minimal amount of salad and some fries. Standard fast food, cheap, easy to prepare. Nothing at all like the meals my grandmother makes. I'm sure if my grandmother knew we were here, she'd tut at me. Even though she's a laid-back person, she can get strangely serious about food. Now that I inspect it more closely, there's something odd about Ammu's meal. Her portion looks a little smaller than mine. And stuck in the center of her cheeseburger, there's a small green flag. Don't you only get these flags for children's meals?
That's right.
Ammu beams, pushing the small flag with her pointier finger.
This place is amazing. If you collect all the flags from the kids' meals in the week, you get a burger for free. Isn't that amazing?
So you ordered a kid's meal just to get the flag.
That's right. I've never been able to get all the flags before, but this time I'll do it. I'll assemble all of them, every last one, and the victory will be mine. I can practically taste the free cheeseburger from here. Just thinking about it is making me drool. Yeah.
But you could just buy another cheeseburger with your own money, and if you get a kid's meal, you don't get as much food. I don't get it. Ammu clicks her tongue against the roof of her mouth.
That's not it, Achan. It's not about the profit. It's about the romance.
Romance?
Yes. Don't understand a girl's heart at all, Achan. It's the suspense, the thrill, and narrative. It's the promise that maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to get all of the flags if you're super lucky, which makes it so wonderful. Just thinking about it is getting me all pumped up. Now I only need the yellow flag and then my conquest will be complete. I will get the free cheeseburger no matter what. Watching Ammu get excited over something so minor is actually kind of endearing. I can't help but smile at her foolish antics, shaking my head as I do so. Still, I'm curious about something. There's one mystery that has yet to be solved. But you're not a kid. Huh? Aren't you a little too old to order from the children's menu? Huh? That? Oh, well... Ammu giggles. I'm still a child at heart, so it's okay. Ammu places her hands against her cheeks and bats her lashes in what perhaps is supposed to be a luring manner. However, given there is a streak of ketchup smeared against her lower lip, the effect is slightly ruined. Hey, thanks, Ammu. What are you thanking me for? I'm glad we were able to have fun together. Hey, if you keep being so corny, you'll make me blush. Sorry. I'm not trying to be embarrassing or anything. It's just nice being able to see you again. Huh? Did you miss me, Ah-chan? Yeah, of course I did. You're one of my best friends. Well, thank you, Ah-chan. I miss you too. Somehow, despite that smile, the atmosphere between us became kind of heavy. Ammu notices this too because she giggles and prods my cheek with her finger. What? You're blushing, Ah-chan. What? No, I'm not. I protest I can't say that word. Childishly and break away from Ammu, turning to hide my face. Naturally, this doesn't stop Ammu from laughing at me. Jeez. But hey, Ah-chan, what is it? Are you going to make food for me again? No, it's not anything like that. I was just wondering, how long are you going to be staying here? Ammu stares at me. Why is her gaze so intense? Her eyes really are very, very green, piercing. I'm only going to be here for 2 more days. I leave on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Huh? Just 2 days then. Well, how? Because I wasn't expecting it, my shout of pain goes unchecked. It's far too loud. People turn to give me a curious stares. Are they worried I'm being assaulted? No, I feel like telling them, don't be alarmed. My life isn't in any danger, although that might be debatable. It's just Ammu, my childhood friend, beating my back so hard my spine might break. Of course, I don't say that. I don't really like talking to strangers. Neither do I like being stared at them. Ammu, by contrast, doesn't seem to care at all. In fact, I think she relishes it. Well then, you'll simply have to make this trip one to remember, right? Do your best. Her voice is so loud, it's making people stare more. Right, of course. So, Ah-chan? Huh? What is it? How are you getting home? Why do you want to know? Are you planning on stalking me? Of course not, silly. I already know where you live. If I wanted to stalk you, I could just go ahead and do it. You know, that doesn't make me feel any better. My dad's gonna drive me back to the village once the cafe closes. Do you want to get a lift too? Well, I don't know. I have my bike, maybe it won't fit. My dad's car is pretty big, just like his mouth. There'll be enough room in the back, so don't worry. I waver, unsure. Since Ammu's offering, I might be rude to refuse, but I do find her dad ever so slightly terrifying. And I'm sure he'll ask me lots and lots of awkward questions. Questions I'd rather avoid.
Oh shoot!
Time to save. Okay, let's see. I feel like I should go by myself. I turned down Ammu's invitation in the end. As thoughtful as it is, I would like to say that this is because I genuinely want to cycle more and get healthy, throwing myself into a new regime of personal fitness. But that would be a complete and utter lie. The real reason is, I want to avoid Ammu's dad. He's not a bad person, but his voice is very, very loud. He seems incapable of talking at a volume suitable for normal conversation. Instead, he belows everything like an angry bear. Even when he isn't angry, he often silently looks angry because of his bushy eyebrows. At least Ammu doesn't hold this cowardly decision against me. Instead, she nods her head, a knowing smile on her face.
Ah, I see. My father has scared you away, just as he has scared so many of the brave men before you.
Well, that isn't entirely it. It's just I want to exercise more, and Ammu raises an eyebrow with one hand on her hip. It's plain from her expression that she doesn't believe a word of it. Am I really that transparent?
Yes, you are. Incredibly so.
Ah, jeez.
But I understand. I won't begrudge anyone for trying to avoid my dad. I think even a dragon would do the same.
Well, I just thought it might be best if I left him alone.
You know, you're probably right. You know how my dad likes to talk, and he'll probably be even more talkative if you're around. He hasn't seen you in so long. He'll want to tell you about all his crowning glorious and splendid achievements from the last 2 years, I'm sure.
Has he made any splendid achievements? Ammu snorts.
Well, that's what he frames them as, but I have my doubts. Personally, I don't think catching a large trout during a fishing trip last summer was that impressive.
How much does that trout weigh?
4.8 kilograms.
I blink at Ammu, a little taken aback. Ammu's never been very good at remembering facts and figures, so I didn't expect her to give me such a precise answer. How did you know that?
You underestimate me exactly how many times my dad has told me that story at Chan.
How many exactly? Ammu's face darkens.
Too many.
Yikes. Alright, see ya, man. Thanks for stopping by. I'm such an idiot. I mean, in my overly optimistic romanticization of the past, I forgot just how out of shape I am, and now I'm paying the price. I'm paying for it dearly. I need to forcefully rotate my legs, using every last bit of strength I possess to keep going forwards in my semi-straight line. My bike wobbles precautiously. My grip on the handlebar starts to slacken. My body feels so tired. I suck in lungfuls of air, trying to replenish my stamina, but it isn't no good. No matter how much I inhale, my lungs doesn't seem to inflate. Maybe I've burst them. Maybe I'm going to die, and on my gravestone it will be engraved cause of death, stupidity. I am such a fool. But no, I won't give up so easily. I can keep going. I can. I grit my teeth and lean forwards, pressing my body down against the framework of the bike. Maybe it'll make my shape more streamlined, aerodynamic, or maybe it will make me a blind bit of difference. But at this point, I don't really know what I'm doing. My vision is going blurry and being obscured by sweat. Even though the evening is approaching and the air has grown colder, I still feel too hot. I'm sure my face is bright red. When I get back, it's already starting to get late. I talk to my grandparents for a while, then sit down for another family meal. Grandma really is pulling out all the stops now that I'm back with them. The meals aren't exactly extravagant or complicated, but the quality of food really is ridiculous. Did Mother tell her I was particularly gluttonous before I came back here? Maybe she's playing a practical joke on me, trying to pay me back for the time I accidentally overwatered her beloved gardenias. I hope you like it, dear. Miss Tachibana brought over those spring onions, you know. She grew them in her own garden. Ah, Miss Tachibana. I remember her. She used to be my teacher, the only teacher in the whole school. As my grandmother talks fondly of our neighbors, I start to feel the color rising to my cheeks. It's kind of embarrassing, but when I was younger, I kind of, sort of, maybe just a little, had a little tiny crush on her. I eat my food with a red face, staring down resolutely at the floor. Noticing my discomfort, my grandmother laughs. I wonder if she knows. Even though I never told her about my child crush, I wouldn't put it past her. That woman knows everything. Come on, dear, eat up. Let's put some more meat on those bones. Thanks, but I sigh. I'm not really hungry. That might be the case, dear, but this is for your own good. If you eat my delicious, rejuvenating food, you'll never grow old. That's how I've maintained my good looks over the years. And besides, she smiles at me craftily, if you eat a lot, you'll become even handsomer, and then you'll have all the girls chasing after you. Grandma, I'm too young to think about that kind of thing.
Ha! A likely story. I've got married to Chio here when she was only 17 and I haven't regretted it since. Too young indeed.
But I'm not even 17 yet, so that's still far too early. It's never too early to start planning ahead. The early bird catches the worm. I don't know if I should think about girls or worms. And I don't think you should start counting your chickens before they've hatched or either. Oh, yes. You just have to do your best. Your grandma will be rooting for you. I appreciate the sentiment, but rooting for me in what? Well, you know. This old woman hopes to live to see the birth of some cute great-grandchildren one day, you know? Great-grandchildren? Yes. I've started to knit some little socks already. It's the only thing that keeps me going.
It'd be nice to have some little nippers around again. You're getting so old already.
I'm not old. I can't even drink yet. You're not so as cute as you used to be. Hey, you would be used up for too much wool if I tried to knit you some socks now, at your age. A frail old lady such as myself might kneel over before she could finish a single pair. I'm not sure if I'd describe my grandmother as frail. Even though she is around 80, she's as energetic as a small child passing notes and giggling in class.
For Chio's sake, you'll have to do your best, lad.
Why do old people like to tease their grandchildren so much about marriage? Are they really starved for drama they have to resort to something that cruel? Why can't they just watch TV soap operas like everybody else? Some of them are really good. It just isn't fair at all. The fresh air feels good. I breathe in deeply. Although it sounds cliche, the air in the country really does feel more refreshing than the air in the city. Maybe that's why my grandparents still act like children, honestly teasing me like that. It's dark outside. I think it must be around 8 or 9 p.m. I'm not entirely sure. There are no large roads that run through the small village. As such, there's no need for street lamps. That means when it starts to get dark here, it really gets dark. One would think it's unsafe to wander around at night, the only visibility coming from the moon. But that isn't really true. Because so few people live here and everybody knows everyone else, the environment is safe. I don't feel any particular worry. In actuality, I was feeling more concerned sitting in the living room with my grandparents being teased about great-grandchildren and tiny knitted socks for tiny newborn feet. I shudder. I know my grandparents got married when they were only 17, but I can't imagine starting a family that young. I do have my friends back in the city, Saki, Miho, and Yuna, but I wouldn't consider marrying them. The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. More importantly, I'm sure none of them would want to marry me either. I can't think of anything particularly attractive about me that would make me appealing to girls, and I'd be more surprised than anything if one of the female friends did decide to confess to me. In fact, I'd probably assume it was all some kind of joke. Then there's Ammu. I like her a lot. I've always done, and we've known each other ever since we were little, but thinking about that seems kind of strange. It is true that I like her, but I've known her for too long. She feels like a sister to me. I'm sure if Ammu knew I was seriously considering being in a relationship with her, she'd just laugh in my face. And then, there's Noelle. No way. But the moment I think this, I start to feel guilty. I have to reprime myself verbally, shaking my head at my own thoughts. Is it true that Noelle was my closest friend for a very long period of time, but that is something I don't want to think about. After a few moments of musing, trying to force my brain to think about something less embarrassing than potential wives, I come to my own senses. I realize that without being really conscious of my own actions, that I've ended up here. I arrived at a small wooden building separated from the rest of the village by fields and trees. It's a worn, ramshackle structure that stands all alone, seeming to creak and moan in the wind. It's the school, the only school in the village, my old school, elementary, middle, and high school combined. In the gathering dark, with the pale moon beginning to rise, the building looks like something from a ghost story, eerie, sinister. I shiver, a cold wind shaking up my spine through my jacket. I didn't notice before, but it's getting pretty chilly. Maybe that's why I can't hear the cicadas. It's too cold for them, so they're all hiding. It makes the atmosphere feel melancholy, as though something vital is missing. I don't really like being here. It's making me feel uneasy. I want to go back. I turn around, ready to retrace my steps when... Huh? I hear it. It's a faint creaking sound, carried over some distance. If I were in a horror movie, this would be the noise that would signal my impending demise at the hands of some apparition from hell. However, even though I'm easily startled, I do know better than that. Although I don't like ghost stories, I'm sensible enough to not believe in them. Even though as a child, I did used to check in my wardrobe for monsters every night before I went to bed. It isn't completely alien noise. In fact, I recognize it. When I was younger, it was a sound I heard a lot. It's the sound of a swing. To be more precise, it's the sound of an old, rusty swing suited and situated in the small playground around the back of the school. That playground, overgrown with grass and flowers, was where I used to play during the break time at school. Even though it only contained a few swings and a slide, I still found it fun. Because there was so little playground equipment, a lot of the bigger children would get there first, shoving the younger ones out of the way. I remember during that time, the 12-year-old Ammu was remorseless. She would shout at the older kids and threaten to hit them, so they ran away in fear. That way, the younger children could play. I think the little kids saw Ammu as some kind of hero because of her exploits. That really does take me back. But who is playing on the swings at night? I bet it's one of the kids from the village, though they can't be too young, or else they wouldn't be allowed out by themselves. Even though this village is relatively safe, no parent would want their children out by themselves in the cold. Not at this time. So, who could it be? I'm curious. Silently, I walk around the back of the school building. I take great care of where I place my feet, trying not to make any noise. I don't know why, but I feel kind of excited, and also a little bit scared. My heart pounds in my chest. My thoughts trick over quickly, running through a list of possibilities. Maybe it's a ghost after all. The ghost of a young child playing on a swing in the middle of the night under the full moon. Yeah, right. As if I could believe something like that. I creep over the small park quietly, The wind rustles through the long grass, the surrounding trees. An owl hoots overhead. I walk closer, closer, and closer, and then my breath catches in the throat. On the rusty swing, moving backwards and forwards through the air, I see her, a figure with pale skin shining under the moonlight. She's wearing a white dress, sleeveless, far too exposing for this weather, surely. Her arms are long and slender. Even at its distance, they look too young, too thin, worrying so, as though they could snap in two at the slightest bit of pressure. Her white skirts pillow out around her bare legs. Her hair flutters around her shoulders, caught in the wind as she moves back and forth. With each movement I can hear it, the sound of an old swing set creaking in protest. An eerie kind of wail mixed with the sound of the wind. She really does look like a ghost, dressed entirely in white with that pale hair and pale skin. One could be forgiven for letting out a cry of alarm, taking an involuntarily step backwards out of fear, their hearts stopping in their chests, eyes widening in surprise. A ghost girl playing on the swing in the darkness under the full moon, an aesthetic experience that would make for a beautiful photograph for a frightening campfire story. But I know it isn't true. This is no ghost. Even at a distance, even after 2 years, I know her. I recognize her face almost as quickly I would recognize my own in the mirror. It's Noelle. I don't think she's seen me. She's still swinging back and forth like a metronome. Should I go up to her? But what should I say? It's been 2 years. 2 whole years. That's a long time. Will she forgive me? Do I deserve to be forgiven? Is she angry? Is she upset? Does she feel betrayed? Or worst of all, does she feel indifferent? Does she no longer care for me at all? She certainly won't be the same girl she used to hide behind my back, clinging to my shirt. Too much time has passed, but she's still Noelle. She's still my best friend. No matter how much time passes, that will never change, right? But if that's really true, then why is my heart pounding so hard? Let's save that one. Let's approach Noelle. Hey, what are you even thinking? As if you can just turn around and leave now. I mutter this under my breath, speaking harshly, as though trying to chastise myself. I can't turn around and leave, not now. I know this, even though I still feel nervous. But I can't let that worry get the better of me. I've been worrying about this for far too long. I need to move forward. The sound of my footsteps, weak and hesitant, mingle with the noise of the swing creaking in the breeze. My heart feels heavy, as though it's made of lead, dragging my body down. But I don't succumb. I can't. If I give up now, what would she think? Would she probably hate me more than she does already? I can't afford to let her down, not again. I don't want to betray her expectations. With this thought in mind, I enter the park. It's eerie, lit only by the light of the moon. I've only ever been here during the day before. Although I've known these friendly, familiar surroundings ever since I was little, they seem strange now, foreboding, almost like an alternative reality. I make my way over to the rusty old swing set and sit down on the spare swing beside Noelle. By this point, she must have seen me. There's no way she couldn't. But she doesn't say anything. She just continues to swing back and forth, back and forth. Her eyes look misty and far away. Her pale hair shimmers in the moonlight. I can't help but to think even now, this must be some kind of mirage. It's all a dream. If I were to reach out and touch her, I feel as though my fingertips would poke right through her, out of the other side. In that case, if it is a dream, it doesn't matter what I say. Summoning my courage, even though my heart is beating so fast, it's wonder it doesn't leap out of my mouth. I start to talk. After 2 years, I introduce myself anew. Hey, Noelle? It's me. My voice is quiet, but she still hears me. Something to snap out of her trance. She turns her head to one side, ever so slightly. Her eyes meet mine. They're large, light blue, and lined with long lashes. She doesn't look surprised. Her expression doesn't flicker. Instead, she merely nods a very slight acknowledgement, as though I'm an old acquaintance, an utterly meaningless person. But at least she stops swinging. Her motions come to a halt. The grinding, creaking noise dies down, swallowed by the silence of the night, the sound of the wind. Somehow, without that noise, the atmosphere starts to feel even more intense. Although I found that sound grating now, I almost wish I had it back. That Noelle was still swinging. Then the rapid thud, thud, thud of my heartbeat wouldn't stop, wouldn't sound so stupidly loud. Noelle? I venture again, my voice shaking. In response, she nods her head. It's really you? She gives me another nod. It's a very slight motion, one that could be easily missed, but I catch it out of the corner of my eye. Noelle was always like this, quiet. Do you recognize me? Achan? Her voice is soft. She doesn't use her real name instead. It's that nickname, the one Ammu coined for me in childhood, which stuck ever since. Somehow it feels very nostalgic and very warm. Yeah, it's me. Achan, you came back? Just for a little while, but I came back. I was still thinking of you the whole time, though. I missed you. Achan. Noelle looks at me with her large light blue eyes. Some people say that her intense gaze is disturbing, but I've never thought about that. The silence encircles us. It takes Noelle a short while to piece together her thoughts and feelings. That's hardly surprising. It has been a long time since we last saw each other. A small smile, barely visible, begins to bloom on her lips. Achan, welcome home. Two of us sat there for a while, neither saying a word. The cold wind brushes against my skin, making me shudder. It takes me a while before I find the words, dredging them up out of my head into my mouth. They're words I should have said long, long ago. Noelle, I'm sorry. Huh? Why are you so sorry? I don't understand. You don't? No. Then you're not angry at me? Why should I be angry? Because I wince. Because I left you. You were so important to me, but I still left you. I know, but I'm not angry. Really? Yeah. It isn't your fault that your parents moved away. Why should I blame you for that? Because even though we were always so close, I was scared and worried you would be upset. I didn't want to hurt you. I was a coward. I was weak and I never told you. That's right. The reason I feel so guilty is because of that. I never told my best friend I was leaving. One day I was there eating lunch with her at school and doing our homework together, and the next day I was gone. I told everyone else, but the one person I didn't tell was the one person who would care the most. And it was all because I was a coward, far too afraid to see her unhappy, too afraid to break the bad news. I really am the worst. Don't you feel betrayed? Everything and everybody has to change at some point. Nothing stays the same forever. But you were angry, right? Weren't you angry? Noelle tilts her head to one side, lips parted in a small O. Do you want me to be? Of course not, but then I won't be. I don't like being angry. It doesn't ever change anything. It only makes things more difficult. It's a pointless emotion. But whether it has a point or not, I think that after what I did to you, you would have the right to feel just a little bit angry. Maybe I did. feel a little bit sad, but not angry. Sad? That's where fun times come and end so quickly. It was upsetting. I'm sorry. I didn't want to make you sad. It's alright. I'm not sad anymore. Why not? A cold breeze runs through the park, making me shudder. The hem of the Noel's skirt ripples like an ocean waves. She always did dress in white, didn't she? Because you came back. You came back to me and said sorry. So there's no reason to be sad. Because not anymore. And with these words, Noel smiles at me. It's a gentle smile, devoid of malice. The two of us sat together for a while in companionable silence under the moon. The rusty equipment of the old park is bathed under the silver light from the moon, making the mundane look eerie and haunting. This really does feel like some kind of fantasy. The sharp feeling of metal against bare fingers helped me keep me grounded. The cold burrows into my flesh, making my fingers spasm. Aren't you cold? Not really. You sure you don't want my jacket? I'm sure. But you're wearing a sleeveless dress. That can't be comfortable, can it? I'm used to it. People get used to a lot of things. Yeah, I guess that's true. I did move to the city after all. I don't think I'd like to live in a city. I don't know if you'd say that if you could see the convenience stores out there. You can buy almost anything you want all around the clock. Isn't that amazing? Anything? Yeah, anything. Even those Jello drinks you like so much. Jello? Do they do all kinds of different flavors? Yeah, all different kinds. They're big convenience stores, you know. Really? Really? Well, it isn't a lie. Why would I lie about something so trivial? Noelle leans forward on the seat of her swing. It creaks as she does so. There's a slightly happy expression on her face, one that I never usually see. Even her cheeks look a little flushed. Is there even strawberry jello? Of course there is. That's a common flavor. In melon? Yes. Wow. In grapefruit and kiwi and apple and millet and grape and lychee and bean paste and blueberry and coffee and pineapple and passion fruit and lemon and plum? I think I didn't hear every single thing you said, but probably? And yet, despite my lackluster reply, Noelle seems satisfied. With a dreamy sigh, she smiles brightly. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, convenience stores really are amazing. If you live in the city, you don't need to walk 40 miles in the next town just to get some Jello. What an age we're living in. It really is convenient, huh? Hence the term convenience stores. But that's no good. It's no good at all. Huh? I thought you were excited by all the Jello. I am excited by the Jello. All girls love Jello. I don't know if that's true, but I don't interrupt. But if the store that sells the Jello is only a few minutes away, buying it wouldn't be so much fun. Fun? Yeah. If you have to walk a long way to buy something, you feel like you've tried hard. So it's okay to reward your effort with a treat. But if your goal is only 5 minutes away, because you can buy a lot of Jello whenever you want, it would feel less special. Less special, huh? Yes. Things have the most worth if you can't have them all the time, whenever you want them. It makes you appreciate them more. I'm surprised to hear you say that, considering how much you love that Jello. But it is precisely because I love Jello that I don't want it every day. It's so it continues to feel special. Special. That's a nice way of seeing it. Yes, just like our meeting right here. This is also special. It might be more special than all of our other meetings put together. Really? But we haven't spoken about anything important. It doesn't matter, because it's been such a long time. It's special. But Even if you say that, I'm leaving in 2 days. We're not going to have much time to be together. I expect Noelle to be upset by the news. This is our first reunion after 2 years, and I don't know when I'll be able to see her next. Shouldn't that make her sad? It's definitely making me sad. However, Noelle's reply is strange. It isn't what I expected at all.
2 days? 2 days is still enough. It's plenty.
Huh?
I mean, the fact that our time together is short. We could feel sad about it. We could get angry. We could cry. But that wouldn't create happy memories. To be happy, we should recognize that it's precisely because our time together is short that it becomes even more precious.
I listened to Noelle's voice, letting it wash over me like a wave. I think I'm starting to understand. She's doing her best to find happiness in unhappy circumstances. With her way of thinking, she's able to take things that should be sad and regard them in such a way that it brings her joy instead. She really is a strong person, isn't she? She's far stronger than I am.
Do you understand what I mean? It might be a little too complicated. Maybe.
No, I think I get it. It's like the Jello, right? If you can eat the Jello all the time, you take it for granted. But if you only have it every once in a while, it tastes even more delicious.
That's right. That's exactly right. Even though I was sad when you left, maybe it was for the best.
The best?
Yes. That is because it stopped me from taking you for granted. And it made me realize just how much you mean to me.
Noelle says this simply without a trace of embarrassment. She's never been the type of person to get embarrassed. She just states what she thinks. I, on the other hand, start to get red. I want to reply to her honest feelings. I want to tell Noelle that our friendship, or rather her presence, her existence, means a lot to me. That might be a little too forward though. Maybe Noelle would read too much into it, or maybe I'm the one reading too much into it. I don't know. Oof, let's save. You really mean a lot to me, or thank you for being so kind. Yeah, let's go with the first one. But even though I mean it earnestly, I can't help but blush as I say such an embarrassing line. I'm just not cut out for flattering ladies. I'm nothing like my grandfather when he was young. Even though we're related, our blood is completely the samer. I guess I won't be honoring my grandparents' request for great grandchildren anytime soon.
What are you thinking about, Achan?
Huh? I blink at Noelle in alarm, my mouth flapping open like a fish. It's fairly rare for Noelle to laugh. To the fact that she started giggling must mean I look exceptionally stupid.
Your face has gone a strange color. I'm curious.
It's nothing really.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I just feel a little hot.
Hot? But weren't you saying you were cold earlier? How mysterious.
Yes, it really is mysterious. Life is full of surprises. Noelle continues to giggle to herself. Even though the source of her laughter is my own stupidity, I'm not unhappy about it. Seeing Noelle laugh like this with a genuine smile on her face makes me happy too. It takes Noelle a few moments to get her giggles under control. Once they've subsided, she starts to look a little guilty, an earnest expression on her face. She looks kind of like a little kid who's just been scolded.
I'm sorry. Was I being mean?
No, it's okay. It wasn't mean.
It seems kind of mean, since you were being so kind to me and...
It's nothing, really.
But you've always been kind to me from the moment I met you. That matters a lot to me. It does.
Huh. My face starts to flush red again. My cheeks burn. At least it's one way of keeping warm in this cold weather, but...
Thank you, Achan. Even though I was rude and laughed at you, I am glad that you like me. Truly. It makes me feel happy.
Then, I start to stammer. I think, in this kind of situation, it'd look good if I said something cool like, "Don't worry about it, darling," or "It's fine, baby doll," but that sounds far too sleazy. The mere thought of saying something like that is so embarrassing, I think my head might explode. I'm sorry. I'm not very good at this, and I'm not cool enough to receive compliments so easily.
What an odd thing to say. You're funny, Achan.
I wasn't trying to be funny.
Don't worry. I like the uncool you the most. It suits you. That's just the way you are.
Oh, thank you. Wait, what? Did she just make fun of me? I'm not really that uncool, am I?
It's not a bad thing to be uncool. It's part of your identity. It's who you are.
Noelle smiles at me with the sweetest of slice of an angel cake. But behind the expression, there's something else. Although it looks so pretty deep down, underneath all that artful applied icing, the cake has started to go stale. She's teasing me, isn't she? Being made fun of by someone wearing such a pure and beautiful expression is pretty depressing. I've been completely defeated.
Was that KO?
Yeah. It was a real ring out with only 10 seconds left on the clock.
How was that strong?
You really were. It was a powerful technique. Completely unparalleled.
Yay.
You demon. Noelle giggles, her smiling face bathed under the milky light of the moon. Once more silence steals over us like a shroud. All I can hear is the sound of the wind through the trees. I wonder how long I've been out here, sitting in those swings with Noelle. It must have been quite a while by now. My fingers have gotten so cold I could hardly feel them. How can Noelle be comfortable sitting out here like this, wearing that dress? I don't understand. She's always been so a mysterious person.
Hey, Achan?
What is it?
I was thinking, as you're only going to be here for 2 more days, do you want to see me tomorrow?
I look at Noelle. She looks back at me. Just what was she thinking? What about Ammu? 2 days isn't very long, and I already told Ammu I would spend more time with her. But when Noelle looked at me like that, with those large eyes, I feel like I would be cruel to refuse her. I end up giving a vague, non-committal reply. It's too hard for me to say a simple yes or no. I don't want to upset anybody. I've always been indecisive like this. It's why I get into difficult situations. Saki scolded me about it enough times.
If you don't want to do something, just say no. It's not going to kill you, you know.
That's what she always says anyway. I should try to be stronger. One day, I'm sure I'll manage it. But right now...
Achan?
Now is not the time. Hey Yuri, welcome back. I'm glad you're back from your exam. Hope it went well. I lie in my futon in my grandparents' home, just as I did the night before. Dimly, I feel a vague sense of guilt creeping over me. Saki asked me to buy her a gift, and she asked me to call her. But I haven't done either. I guess I got so caught up in returning to my old home, I haven't had enough time to rethink about my new one. Oh well, I'm sure Saki will forgive me. I'll be going back in a couple of days anyway, so it's not like I'll be parted for too long. Not like Ammu and Noelle. I haven't seen those two in years. Noelle. It was nice seeing Noelle again, even though it was a complete surprise. And I was a little nervous at first, but I do want to see her but do I want to see her tomorrow? And what about Ammu? I only have 2 days left. That isn't very long at all. Noelle or Ammu? Do I need to make a choice? Alright guys, that is going to be it for day 1 of this game. I'm just gonna, I thought that like day 1 is gonna be like an hour or so, but it turns out to be like 2 hours of dialogue. Bruh, dude, this is pretty long. And there's like 3 days in this game, so I'm assuming there's gonna be like, this game is about 6 to 10 hours long. Oof. That's pretty long. Nothing new though. I've done long gameplays like this before. But I hope you guys enjoyed this gameplay. or game through. I don't know what you want to call it, or playthrough. Yeah, it's part 1 playthrough. I'm probably gonna stream part 2. In today's what, Tuesday, so I'm gonna be streaming on Thursday night around the same time, hopefully. If not, probably around Friday or Saturday afternoon as well, or about the same time. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for coming and stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Big shout out to Tengoku, Lucky Duelist, Marksman, my fellow members. If you want to be a member, you know, there's always the become a member button under the video, or under the like button and stuff like that. Also, big shout out to my Patreon supporter, John Michi, for always being a Patreon, a great, awesome Patreon, you know. And as always, thanks everybody else for coming by, just supporting me. I really do appreciate it. I guess I'll see everybody else in the next live stream, Thursday, around 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. probably. I don't know. Eastern Standard Time, as always. You'll see the time in my channel. You'll see. I don't know. All right, guys. Peace. Have a great night.